Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, May 2nd. Well, the Mid-Atlantic region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City will feature summer-like temperatures over the next 3 days. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, and Friday afternoon should see high temperatures well up in the 80s, and many spots will flirt with the 90-degree mark, perhaps even on multiple occasions over the next few days. The frontal system will work its way through the region late Friday night, spark a few showers and thunderstorms. That front will tend to stall out as it pushes just to the south and east of the I-95 corridor region, and that will lead to an unsettled weekend, turning cooler this weekend. Chance of showers on both days, at least in D.C. and Philadelphia, maybe even all the way up to New York City. So we'll focus in on that as we get closer to the weekend. But for the next 3 days, summer-like conditions here in the Mid-Atlantic region, way above normal for this time of the year. Well, yesterday there were some tornadoes out in the Central Plains. We've talked about the tornado season so far, off to a slow start, below normal for this time of the year, but it gets more active this week, probably peaking today. There'll be even more activity today compared to yesterday. This is a map from yesterday, and there were about 21 tornadoes yesterday, mostly in the Central Plains, and we've talked about the fact that Oklahoma has not had a tornado all year long, the latest ever for the first tornado, and preliminary reports show there was not a tornado yesterday in Oklahoma. It's not final yet, but today it certainly has a better chance, and we'll now take a look at the Storm Prediction Center forecast for later today. Well, here we go. This is Storm Prediction Center forecast with probability of severe weather, including tornadoes for later today. The peak area looks like northeastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri. Oklahoma is in the area with anywhere from slight to enhanced, all the way down to Texas. This whole region right in here should be on the lookout for later today, tonight. We have a clash of air masses. We'll see in a moment here really clearly on the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps. Cold air moving eastward across the southwestern part of the U.S. Meanwhile, warm and humid air moving northward from the Gulf of Mexico, and this is the clash zone right here. And again, severe weather outbreak possible later today, right in the heart of the tornado alley, the southern and central plains. Well, let's take a look at last night's GFS 6Z GFS model run with respect to 500 millibar height anomalies. This is this morning, Wednesday morning, and look at this bowling ball out here in the southwestern U.S. Meanwhile, big ridge starting to form in the, not only starting to form, is already in place here in the northeastern part of the country. A clash region right in here with the colder air, the upper level low moving eastward across the southwestern U.S. And again, we talked about the important ingredient of warm and humid air pumping northward from the Gulf of Mexico, and that is indeed the case later today. We'll move forward here this afternoon, early tonight, and again expect the possibility of severe weather really from Iowa all the way down to Texas right in this region. Meanwhile, here in the Mid-Atlantic region, just summer-like conditions, dry weather today, high temperatures later today, way up in the 80s. Could even be a flirtation with the 90-degree mark in some spots in the I-95 corridor this afternoon, and certainly on Thursday and Friday as well. Let's just keep pushing forward here. That upper level low tends to shear out or weaken by the time we get to Thursday night and Friday, but the strong ridge remains here settled right on top of the Mid-Atlantic region right through Friday. And again, the real summer-like peak in this heat wave will be today, tomorrow, and Friday. Again, we turn cooler. A weak frontal system starts to show up here in terms of an upper level low over south central Canada here, and that slides through right about this time. This is the Friday evening forecast map. There'll be a weak cool front sliding southeastward from the northwest into the Mid-Atlantic region, and that will pave the way for a somewhat cooler and unsettled weekend, as that front will just stall out right in this region right here. You can see the upper level winds go from the southwest to the east-northeast, and that will not allow that frontal system to push too far to the south and east, hence some unsettled conditions here this weekend. Well, let's take a look at the surface forecast maps from the 6Z GFS model run. High pressure off the Mid-Atlantic coastline, the southeastern U.S. coastline. A long fetch of air on the backside of this high. Strong southerly winds, southwesterly winds all the way into the Ohio Valley, and that will really push temperatures here in the Mid-Atlantic region way up this afternoon. I notice basically a westerly flow, downsloping will add a few degrees here east of the Appalachian Mountains in the I-95 corridor. Again, mid to upper 80s possible this afternoon. Certainly one of the warmest days we've seen so far this season. Notice out here, southwestern U.S., some blue showing up. That's snow. In the Rockies, for example, higher elevation locations, is a very cold air mass for the beginning of May. Sliding to the east. Meantime, you have this fetch of air out of the Gulf of Mexico right into the heart of the country here, and that clash, cold air sliding east from the southwestern U.S. and the warm, humid air pumping northward from the Gulf of Mexico, will result in that severe weather later today in the central and southern plains. Let's move forward here. By this afternoon, lots of precipitation breaking out, and indeed, this will include some embedded, strong to severe thunderstorms. Staying dry today in the Mid-Atlantic region, but very warm. And here we go, a band of perhaps some severe thunderstorm activity here across Texas. And again, this threat will extend all the way up to Iowa later today, tonight, into the day on Thursday. That high pressure pushes off the East Coast even farther by tomorrow afternoon. It can be an isolated shower or thunderstorm in the I-95 corridor later tomorrow night. Certainly cannot rule out the chance of a shower or thunderstorm on Thursday, late Thursday or Thursday night. Meantime, this cool front starts to show up here over the Great Lakes by Friday morning. This is a Friday morning forecast map, and that'll slide south and east. And you can see kind of the kinkiness in the isobar pattern right at this time. This is Friday afternoon. That's associated with that surface cold frontal system at this time. Not a widespread rain event, but certainly can be some scattered showers and thunderstorms with that cool frontal system late Friday into Friday night. And then that front will just stall out here. Let's push forward here into Saturday morning. And here you have a frontal system basically stalling out over the southern Mid-Atlantic region. Some moisture already starting to show up, and indeed, the GFS model really enhances that moisture noticeably. Threat of showers on Saturday, late in the day, Saturday night, and even into the day on Sunday. Here we are Sunday. This, by the way, is kind of a tropical-like feature that will form over the Bahamas and stay to the east of the U.S. East Coast, but kind of interesting because it has a little bit of tropical characteristics. But again, with that stalled cool frontal system in the southern Mid-Atlantic this weekend, there can be showers on both days in D.C. and Philadelphia, and perhaps even as far north and east as New York City. Let's finally move ahead to late Sunday into Monday, and again, some showers around all the way through the weekend into the early part of next week. So the big news here, summer-like conditions in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City today, tomorrow, and Friday. Turns somewhat cooler this weekend, and there will be a shower threat on both days in the upcoming weekend in the I-95 corridor region. Meanwhile, out in the central and southern plains, the threat for severe weather, including tornadoes, later today and tonight, and we'll monitor that closely here at VencoreWeather.com. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.